call the meeting to order. The time is now 6:30. We're gonna have the invocation by Catherine Blue.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for allowing us to be here today. We ask that you guide us to make sound and relevant decisions as it relates to our students, staff, parents, community, and all stakeholders. May we show respect, integrity, and love as we go forward in this meeting. Bless us and keep us. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Vice Chair Catherine Blue. Now it's time for the chairman's report. I want to say good evening. Good evening. And on behalf of the Hope County School Board, I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. I pray that everyone had a good, happy holidays and that you got a little rest while you're out. First, I want to say that I was very sorry to hear about the loss of one of our teachers while we was out for the holidays, Miss Karen Scarborough. So if you don't mind at this time, we're going to take a moment of silence. Thank you. So I hope that you continue to keep her family in your prayers and your thoughts. Just wanted to say that right after we got sworn in, it was like boots on the ground for us. For those of you that military, ex-military, that means we was like ready, like war, we just went to fight. And superintendent sent us right to training. So we went to Raleigh for 2 days for ethics training, and it wasn't fun. We thought it was gonna be fun. So we didn't get to enjoy that hotel that Marsha set us up with because we were tired when we got there. So, but it was nice. It was very, very informative. We learned a lot. So, and we enjoyed that part because we got to learn and it was very helpful. We got to bring some things back. And so some of the things that was in training with the attorney. So some of the things that she went over with us last week, it was some of the things that they went over with us in Raleigh. So, you know, that did bring back some things. So during the holidays, we did get to visit some schools. We went to Scurlock. They had an amazing Beta Club program. They even had Sheriff Roderick Burgess to come out and speak. Also Don Steve, they had one. It was very short and sweet, but it was very nice. We went to Hawkeye Sands Superintendent. She was there with some of her staff. It was a very nice Christmas program. We also went to, I know Hope County, we had a nice talent show. So many schools had a lot of things going on, and it's just amazing how Hope County is just coming together on all different levels. The children are just doing wonderful things in spite of other things that's going on. And you hear all about the bad things, but you don't get to hear about the good things. And I'm just hoping that we start expounding on the great things that our children are doing. Let's pull together on that part. You know, we hear about the lockdowns, we hear about all this, the fights, but our children are doing some amazing things. Our teachers are doing some amazing things. So we need to start uplifting that part. How our teachers are doing some amazing things. So on that note, during my campaign, I did learn that we had a swim team. And so I found out that they were traveling to Laurinburg, you know, and that they're doing well. They're in competitions and they're winning. And so I started inquiring and I found out that once that aquatic center gets built, that's where they're gonna be doing their competitions. So we're invited to do a private tour. And so Superintendent Dr. Dallas, they're asking that you get in touch with Commissioner James Leach so that you can set up a private tour and you can invite your staff, whoever you like, but especially the board, so we can do a private tour. Make sure you make the team, some of the team members, the coaches, so they can go and tour that facility because that's going to be something amazing that they get to see. so that they won't have to travel anymore. So that's not something, I mean, something truly, truly excited that they're gonna get, get somewhere local. So, with that being said, I'm just looking forward to some great things to happen in Hope County. So wonderful things to happen in Hope County on a local level. It's, we do appreciate Scotland County allowing us to use that. Hopefully they'll be able to come over and use our facilities as well. But it's gonna be a wonderful thing to be at home using our own facility. So I just thank you for listening, and I thank you for this time.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
Matt, can I say something?
Mhm.
Just wanna add to, on December the 8th, and we did not get that invite for West Hope Elementary School, but, West Hope Elementary School had an awesome musical play. And it was at Tullerton, and, it was so packed. The parents came out, supporters came out, there was no parking spaces. And, I just wanna say kudos to the young lady who put that musical program on, but I think it's gonna have to be moved next year if it continues to be that large. And on another note, Devon is here, her mother passed away, Cindy McFadden. That was in November, but it was the last of November. And I just wanted to recognize her mother because she spent about 40 years in the educational system here. And she was at Upchurch. Devon is at Upchurch as a principal, but her mother worked at Upchurch, and she was my baby, Brandon McAllister's teacher. And we lost a great soldier, and she was a very special. I just wanted to add. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. McAllister, Frank. Anyone else has anything they want to share?
Madam Chair, tonight I attended West Hope Middle AIG. They had a meeting and it was going on as I left. It was some good things going on. So it was a lot of parents there, and my granddaughter goes to that school, so I went to support her. But it was just awesome to see the people in the media center listening to the guy that was telling them about the AIG and the different activities that they have after school.
That's good, that's all.
Madam Chair, I want to say thanks to all the schools that gave us all these wonderful gifts on tonight. So I love it, and I thank you all for what you do for us, and we're going to continue as a school board to do what we need to do for you all. And at the same time, we're looking for a positive year, and we're going to have a great year this year.
Thank you. That's what I was gonna say last. And again, thank all of you that has given us all these gifts. Anyone else? All right, so we're gonna move forward. At this time, we want to have approval of the agenda. And I have a motion at this time to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
A second.
So motion on the floor to approve the agenda has been second, and are there any other discussions? Any in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. At this time, it's spotlight on its success. We're gonna turn it over to the superintendent, Dr. Dallas.
Okay, good evening, Madam Chair and members. We have 4 items for Spotlight on Success. Our first item for Spotlight on Success is the recognition of our 2022 Bright Ideas Grant winners. We are so excited for them. At this time, I would like to ask Dr. Ramsour, our Assistant Superintendent for Elementary Education, to share a little more about this grant and to introduce our winners.
Good evening. For nearly 30 years, North Carolina's electric cooperatives have helped light up learning in K-12 classrooms statewide through what's called the Bright Ideas Education Grant Program. So what happens is North Carolina teachers, they have these innovative ideas and creative learning projects that they can submit online between April and September, and approximately 600 of those submissions are granted or awarded annually. by our state's electric cooperatives. Applications are accepted in all areas, teachers in a variety of disciplines, including music, art, history, science, technology, math, and engineering, to name a few. So this year, we had 2 Bright Idea Grant winners. The first of which was Niquetta Dockery from Spurlock Elementary School. I don't think Ms. Dockery is here, but her principal is here and will be accepting it in her stead. Mr. McNeil.
So Ms. Dockery couldn't be here on today, but in her stead, I wanted to kind of give you all a description of what she applied for, the description that she used when she applied, and it was granted to be one of the winners. It's learn through play. Play-based learning focuses on developing a child in a more natural environment that most younger learners are accustomed to. Learning through play encourages their inquisitive nature, builds their confidence, social emotional learning, and develops cognitive skills. Through constant interaction, children develop social skills which are crucial in life. It will help develop the whole child, and it fosters imagination and creativity. And I say she is excited to use that word for learn through play. But that is what she applied for, and I'm sorry she couldn't be here, but she was very excited to receive that award. Thank you.
So this says that this is presented to Niquetta Dockery, 2022 Bright Ideas Grant Award winner, presented by the Hope County School Board of Education, January 10th, 2023.
So we're gonna make you take a picture. 1, 2, 3.
And our second recipient was Miss Sarah Lotta Johnson from Rockfish Oak Elementary School. If we can have her first. And you can share with us just a little bit about your project as well.
Hello. My idea was STEM for the future. This is the first year that we had STEM, and so we really didn't have much. But what I've noticed that the kids really enjoy is hands-on, and we're really trying to focus on the engineering design process, that when they are trying to design something or come up with a solution to a problem, they really need to think about their design first before they start to implement it. So I'm very excited to be able to get these products and these ideas that these kids can start to actually hands-on learn and actually see it, because I can see that they want this so bad. And it's so hard to keep young children focused, especially if they're not interested. But I can see that they really want this, and I'm super excited to get this going.
Awesome. Let's give her a hand. Awesome. So on behalf of the Hope County Board of Education, 2022 Bright Ideas Grant Award winner, this is presented to you on January 10th, 2022.
Thank you so much.
One, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Our second item for Spotlight on Success is the NCDPI 21-22 Academic Growth Awards. At this time, let me ask Dr. Register, our Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education, to recognize our schools this evening.
I do want to say good evening to the chair, vice chair, the board members, and all the cabinet, and everyone that's visiting today. Academic growth is an indication of the progress that students in the school made over the previous year. The standard is roughly equated to a year's worth of expected growth for a year of instruction. Growth is reported for each school as exceeded growth expectations, met growth expectations, or did not meet growth expectations, as measured by EVAS, which is the acronym that stands for Education Value Added Assessment System, a statistical tool North Carolina uses to measure student growth when common assessments are administered. Congratulations to the following schools for meeting or exceeding the goal of expected academic growth or progress for students during the 21-22 school year. As I call each school, will the principal or designee come forth to receive the award? Exceeded Academic Growth Award, and this award is proudly presented to Hawkeye Elementary School. Exceeded Academic Growth Award, Polk County High School. Exceeded Academic Growth Award, San Hope Early College High School. Exceeded Academic Growth, Spurlock Elementary School. Then Exceeded Academic Growth Award, Upchurch Elementary School. And now we want to announce those schools that met academic growth.
Turn your, certificate around. There we go, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Now we want to present an award to all the schools that met academic growth. Don D. Steed Elementary School. Met academic growth, Rockfish Hope Elementary School. Met academic growth, Sandy Grove Elementary School. Met academic growth, West Hope Elementary School. And then met academic growth will be West Hope Middle School.
Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. We want to say congratulations to all our schools. Thank you for the hard work, principals, teachers, and staff.
Okay, our third item for Spotlight on Success is the recognition of School Board Appreciation Month. So let's start by joining all together and recognizing our amazing school board members and thanking them for their service to our district and our community. So we know our school board members, all of our members exemplify unconditional support for public education, for sound decision-making, in the best interest of all of our children, staff, and community. They influence virtually every facet of our school system. They dedicate countless hours and an immeasurable amount of energy to ensure the best possible education for all students in Hope County. So once again, thank you for your service. We look forward to working together. Thank you for your advocacy and thank you for what you do for our students every day. Thank you. Would any of our cabinet members like to say anything briefly?
Well, I look forward to working, especially with our new members. And I just thank the fact for our 2 members who are veterans on the board. Thank you for your leadership. Like I said, with the new members, I look forward to your leadership as well. We always had a motto of one team, one goal. So I think together we can continue to make a difference for our students, staff, and all our stakeholders. So we appreciate you.
I'd like to just to echo that. Thank you, Dr. Register, but also just to say, I know that we will continue to, we are in a continuous improvement. And so knowing that we have a strong board behind us who are always thinking about students, and making sure that they're getting what they need. I know that the sky's the limit. So thank you already for our new board, for what I know you will continue, what you will do, and then for our board that we've had in place, just, what you continue to do. So just thank you.
Thank you. And our fourth item for Spotlight on Success is the recognition of the student artwork that is displayed at the board. And that beautiful display is provided by Hope County High School. So thank you, Hope County High School. Madam Chair, members, that concludes everything for Spotlight on Success.
Thank you, Dr. Dallas. At this time, we are at public comment. We're going to turn it over to Attorney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Public comment, the board provides members of the public to join for 3 minutes, comments up to 3 minutes. We have 4 individuals who have signed up. Just to remind those who are speaking tonight, board members will not respond to or address speakers' comments during the board meeting. Comments regarding particular individual employees, student records, or other matters which are required to be kept confidential may not be discussed in this open forum. All comments must be respectful and civil for ordinary rules of order and decorum. I will be the keeper of the time, and we'll let you know when you hit your 3 minutes if that happens. And with that, our first member of the public who signed up is Mr. Harry King.
I'd like to present something to the board before I get started. Can I find a packet real quick?
If you could pass it down here, and we'll submit it to the board.
Amazing. All right. All right, from 2006 to 2012 and beyond, Hope County High School Rugby Club existed in the county for those years. Sandhope Early College Rhinos Rugby was established by Austin Cormett, a former player of the high school, Hope County High School rugby team. What does the athletic rugby club bring to a high school? I'm asking the board's approval in establishing a rugby athletic club to compete in the North Carolina Youth Rugby Union in the single high school league. Many schools in Mecklenburg County are already approved clubs on campus. I will coach and build both teams, plans to grow the club in leadership. This club is for boys and girls. As a teacher director, I will seek out not only a girls teacher coach, but also a boys teacher coach, which will fill possible teaching positions needed in our school system. Rugby is not just a sport. It is a mentoring program to help kids get back on track that might need athletic or non-athletic, good or bad grades or something, maybe stopping them from competing or just wanting to try something new. The National Guard, as well as all military branches, support rugby. As of right now, Guilford and Queens University both added rugby as a scholarship sport for women, where Queens added both men's and women's. Please search the links provided at the end of the packet. If they're not there, please email me and I will provide them. Our goal as a club is not to take away from the sanctioned sports at the school. However, some crossover may take place, and if that does happen, our kids will sign a waiver acknowledging their primary sport. Again, all liability is covered by USA Rugby Union, as well as we need a small practice field to practice on. All games are on Saturdays, so there will be no conflict with any of the major sporting events here at Hope County High School. Again, we have close to 100 alumni ready to donate to support the program if approved. So many youth are walking the path that could lead in a different direction that we don't want them to. And I ask this is, why should Mecklenburg County, which has established clubs already, lead the way? Why cannot Hope County? Rather than stand here and tell you what a difference it has made in some of our students' lives, I passed out the packets with many letters, or about few letters from the former players. And if you could please read those before you make a decision on whether we can establish a club at the high school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. We will now hear from Tyler Radici.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tyler Radici. I am quite a new player to rugby, but so far I've learned and had a great experience with the sport. I learned a lot of new things about teamwork and communication that I haven't learned yet. It's taught me a lot about the culture of the sport, as well as helping me stay in shape. Rugby, I believe we should be able to practice at Hope because I've talked to many people who want to play and learn the sport, but can't because they don't have transportation to be able to make it to practice. And it helps keep me occupied and stay out of trouble, and has lots of many great opportunities for those that look to get into playing the sport as a pro. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Adichie. We'll now hear from Keyshawn Payne.
Good evening. My first game and actual experience with rugby was fun. I got to experience the working communication that you need to play this sport. That's another thing about rugby. This sport helps develop friendships and helps people communicate more. I think we should be able to practice at the school because rugby can really bring people together. I also think rugby should be at the school because it can be an alternative for people who aren't playing football at the time or another sport. So it could also keep people occupied. Rugby can also get you fit from how much you have to do to score or prevent the other team from scoring. And another thing is that anybody is allowed to join no matter who they are. And rugby can be a very fun and new experience for people who want to try something new. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Mr. Hayden Garden.
Hello, my name is Hayden, and I'm a senior at Hope County High. I've been playing rugby with Coach King since my 9th grade year. He showed me the game ever since I stopped playing football for Hope. Football messed me up in my career path because I wanted to go get my scholarship for football. But I didn't get to because I never got any play time. So I stopped playing football, and Coach King put me to the side and asked if I wanted to play rugby because he seen the potential in me. And so I started playing rugby with him and his little group that we had. And so we tried to get it here, and it didn't really work out. So I started playing with him, practicing, doing all I could. I even got my little brother out, and he started to like the sport. I got many other people out, they started to like the sport. Everybody here, everybody started to like the sport. The problem is the ride to the practices that we got now. Now, my first game was against a men's team. I scored that, and I gave me the confidence to keep going, scoring, do what I want to do. And now, playing with Coach King and the team that we got right now, I am now going out to where I can get a scholarship for different teams in college or anything like that with this club sport that we got. But the thing is, not really many coaches can see me. But unless we can get it here at Hope and start playing with high school teams, we can get it here. Everybody who wants to try to get their scholarship that couldn't really get it with their sports, they can get it here, do what they need to do, still get in shape for other sports if they want to play other sports, have their fun. And me, if we have it here, I can get the scholarships and the books that I want and get into higher colleges like one of Coach King's students who are at upper level with the USA team. That's all I have.
Madam Chair, that is all we have for public comment.
Thank you, Attorney Murphy. At this time, I need to get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair or Attorney Representative, can I ask a question before we do the motion? One of the pieces in the consent agenda.
So the consent agenda is not up for discussion.
I don't really want to.
Are you asking that it be removed from the consent?
Does it have to actually be removed? Because I just wanted to ask one question. It's gonna be approved, but thank you. So on the field trip, I just wanted to know, we're getting ready to approve it. The one with, I think, the theater person, we're getting ready to approve it, but they've already gone.
Right, Chad, do you know the date on that one? Do you?
The 7th.
The one with the thespian club by Medina? You know the.
Oh, okay. That was my question. I just was trying to see.
We usually ask for 2 weeks in advance. And sometimes the timing of that doesn't work out to get it to here. So usually we can approve those unless they're over a certain amount of miles.
Okay.
Do you remember that one specifically?
Yes, we actually received it somewhere around the 15th, right before we got out the Christmas break.
Okay, that was my question. I know they're already gone out. Thank you. I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, if you can give me a second, there's something that needs to be brought to the board. Let me locate it, please.
Mr. Castone, as I mentioned to your fellow board member, there's no discussion on consent agenda items.
There's not, this is not the reference for discussion, this is a typo. There's a typo error.
If there's an error, then it needs to be removed from the consent agenda and added to the action items. If there's any discussion on them, we need to remove it. Is there an item that you'd like to remove from the consent agenda?
Let me look at it one more time.
So, Jose, did you have a motion?
I did put a motion on the floor.
So your motion was what, can you repeat your motion? Okay, there's a motion on the floor to approve, to accept, there's a motion on the floor to accept the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion on the floor to accept the consent agenda and a second. All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so it was 3 yeas, 3 yes, so yes, 7.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that for me?
I mean, 3 and 1.
And one nay.
Next on the agenda is the action items. I will turn this over to the superintendent, Dr. Dallas.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Members, we have 2 action items for this evening. Action item number 1 is the 2022-2023 State Budget Amendment number 4. At this time, let me ask Ms. Lene Chavis, our Finance Officer, to explain this budget amendment, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members. What we're going to do is a little brief history before we get into the budget amendment, because we'll sort of explain how we ended up where we're at. So what we're looking at is state budget amendment number 4. And when we started the 2022-23 school year, our state budget, we start with the planning for a new fiscal year. The Department of Public Instruction provides Hope County School with a projected ADM, which is average daily membership. They project the number of students they anticipate that we will have. And they project our state budget for our primary state funding sources until the General Assembly approves the budget for the fiscal year. Once the General Assembly approves the budget, DPI publishes our initial state budget for that fiscal year. So at the beginning of this fiscal year, July 26, 2022, we received our initial state budget allotment. Our 22-23 initial state budget allotment was $68,108,103 based on a projected ADM of 9,088 students in K-12. The budget consisted of classroom teachers, which is PRC 001, and PRC stands for Program Report Code, which was 416.5 teaching positions at $28,053,358. Central Office Administration, $701,882. Non-instructional support, which is our custodians and some of our clerical staff at $2,834,429. K-5 program enhancement teachers, these are our elementary PE teachers, art teachers, music teachers. We were given 23 positions, which is $1,614,439. PRC 005, which is our school building administrators, which is our principals and assistant principals, they gave us 260 months, which was $2,492,938. School psychologists, they gave us 3 positions, a total of $278,349. Instructional support personnel, they gave us 41 positions, which is $3,103,290. Driver's education, $163,628. Career and technical education teachers, they gave us 420 months of employment, which is $3,170,580. Career and technical education support, I'm sorry, I got my numbers mixed up here. Gracious, transportation was $2,234,244. Classroom materials, $278,315. PRC 69 at-risk student services, $2,491,674. Textbooks and digital resources, $293,179. Teacher assistance was $3 million, even though it says 1.6, but the total, well, the initial was $68,108,103. During the fiscal year, the state gives us either more funding or they decrease funding. And this is why we do budget amendments each month. Which is for things that were not part of our initial budget. And as we receive funding, a budget amendment is prepared and presented at the next board meeting. As you will see in the budget amendment number 4, our state budget has increased to $72,591,396.52. Then after 2 months, DPI looks at our student count. They look at what they call the best of one or two, which is what they do is they look at our student count for the first month of school and then look at our student count for the second month of school. And they compare it to what they did as a preliminary budget of students. So when they looked at our head count for months 1 and 2, month 1, we had 8,498 students. And then in month 2, we had 8,665 students. So when they compared that to what they projected us for, there was a decrease or a difference of 423 students that was projected for in our initial budget. So whenever they look at that and compare, they come back and do what they call a budget reduction. So when they look at this, they took a total of $1,295,000. And they take it from specific PRCs that they had budgeted at the beginning of the school year. So from our classroom teachers, we lost 10 positions, which was $673,550. For non-instructional support, we lost $64,872. From our K-5 enhancement teachers, we lost 1 position, which was $70,193. From our instructional support, which is our media guidance, we lost 1 position, which was $75,690. From our career and technical support, we lost $2,415. From our teacher assistants, we lost $108,188. Supplies and materials, we lost $6,387. So they go from the particular PRCs, they pull the funding for these, the reduction. And if you can click on there. And as you can see here, This is all of our PRCs that we have from the state thus far. And each PRC, I show the increase or decrease from the previous month that was approved by the board. We had a decrease of $1 million because of the revision, but then we also received some funding in PRC 63, which our true reduction for this budget amendment is only $800,000 because we received funding. And then in the narrative below is the description for why we lost those funding. I can't see from here, sorry. And then for reporting purposes, at the beginning of the year when we do our budget resolution, it is by purpose code. So we do amendments showing where it increased and decreased by purpose in state funding. So just a little information about our ADM history. So if you look back in 2018-19, we had 8,696 students. 1920, we had 8,722. COVID hit, and then in 2021, we went down to 8,247 students. We are increasing back as far as ADM because in 21-22, we were back up to 8,503. In 2022-23, we're back up to 8,665 students. So we're a little shy of where we were in 1920 of about 67 students. This is K-12 students only. Now in pre-K, we have actually 246 students this school year. And you might ask, well, where are our students going? So we have 12 different charter schools that our students are currently enrolled in. And we have 685 Polk County students that are enrolled in those charter schools. And the largest one being Alpha Academy. Yes, ma'am.
1A. But sometimes, don't we get those students back?
Sometimes we do. Yes, ma'am, sometimes.
And then we don't get the money back until the next year.
That's correct. Once they take our funding from this school year, it doesn't come back to, they come back to the following school year.
You just got the person.
You just got the person, that's correct. Any questions about our state budget amendment?
Can you go back up to the top where the, where you have the notes?
Go to the link, Mary.
The reduction.
Is that where you're at?
Yeah, what that mean, what those numbers mean in the red? You're on the right
The
page.
two.
I was just trying to make it, can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The red, the parentheses,
Mm-hmm.
it gives you the explanation down at the bottom. So like the textbooks has number, I can't see it from here.
2 and 6.
Number
2 and 6.
Number 2 and 6. So if you scroll to the bottom, 2 should tell you it's the ADM reduction, best of 1 of 2. And then we did an ABC transfer, which should be number 6, right there, Meredith, is the description.
A little bit.
Just a little bit, right there.
I see two, so where's 6?
Yeah, 6 actually isn't there.
No, 6 was the ABC transfer, which would be moving it from one PRC to another PRC.
ABC what?
Transfer. So moving it from one.
Moving from one PRC to another PRC is what they call an ABC transfer. And we moved it from textbooks to purchase software, because that's an option.
So one question, so you're saying all those 400 and some students that left, they went to.
I don't know that all went to charter schools, because with COVID, some may have moved to another state, some, I don't know where the 400 are, but I do know our charter school enrollment has increased over the past 2 to 3 years.
Is there a way we can track that down, Dallas?
Track
The students?
for charter?
Yeah.
I mean, we actually do, because we have to
Oh, so-
kind of, we know where they're at by charter schools.
Okay.
But beyond charter schools, we don't necessarily always know if they've been enrolled in a homeschool or a virtual school.
Do we keep track of that, Dr. Ellis?
Of the homeschool and
Like, do
virtual,
we just keep track of everything, like, if somebody go to homeschool or somebody just don't go to school, do we have a percentage, like keep track of that?
Right, so now homeschool, if they're registered with the state, we would know that.
Mhm.
And then that's where our guidance really comes in, is if students don't show up, they start trying to track to determine if a student has moved, if they've kind of gone into a different PSU somewhere in the state. So they track those if they don't show up for 10 days. They start tracking those students to determine where they're at.
Is Dr. Owens over that part?
Yeah, the counselors will do that along with the data managers, usually work together to try to track that. Yeah.
That's required for us to attempt to track that for compulsory attendance.
Say that
Required- For compulsory attendance reasons, we're required to make sure
Right.
that if students aren't coming to school here, that they're they're enrolled somewhere.
Somewhere.
That's right.
And we did find during COVID, there was a lot of movement with students going different places. But it does seem like Juan said it's starting to settle down a little bit. People are coming back and staying.
And just, I know last year, we were looking at some information earlier, last year, we know there's 1,143 students that were homeschooled. But that was last year's data. Any other questions?
So if there are no other questions at this time, I am asking for approval of the 2022-2023 state budget amendment number 4.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the 2022-2023 state budget amendment number 4.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the state amendment, and the state budget 2022-23, budget amendment number 4. Do I have a second?
Second.
There's a second, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Action item number 2 is the Global Teaching Partners Contract. Let me ask Mr. Sean O'Connor, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, to share this information, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, cabinet, and guests. Tonight, we do bring the contract for Global Teaching Partners. This is a new organization that will be an international partnership that will sponsor our J1 visa teachers, our international faculty, which was previously referred to as our visiting international faculty. You may have heard the term VIF several times, but that's what I wanted to do is kind of give you a background on the 3 providers that we currently use, so you're aware of what this looks like when we contract with these different organizations. So our international partnerships that we currently have, and they are linked if you wanted to visit any of their sites, they are linked in this presentation. The 2 that we currently have are through Participate Education, and we do have 8 teachers currently in the district who participate. These teachers are primarily our teachers that support our dual immersion programs at Don Steve and at East Hope that come through this program. The other larger provider of J1 visas is EPI, or Educational Partners International. We have 22 teachers through EPI currently. Now, both of these companies are located in North Carolina. They do business, EPI being the larger provider, does business across many states, as well as Participate. The contract that we're starting, or that we hope to get approval of tonight for Global Teaching Partners, they are located in Research Triangle Park in North Carolina, and they do all of their business only in North Carolina and in South Carolina. So they are not as widespread as some of our other providers. All of these agencies are approved by the Department of State, who ultimately dictates these teachers coming here. Also approved through USCIS, which is Citizenship and Immigration, as well as the Department of Homeland Security. So when these individuals do receive a J1 visa from one of these providers, they are thoroughly vetted by all 3 agencies at the federal level prior to any other part of this taking place. And basically, anyone that receives a J1 visa from any country is here for 3 years initially, and then they can file for a 2-year extension for a total of 5 years. Now, Our agreement with the providers of the J1 visas are that after those 5 years, these teachers do have a home country presence for 2 years that is mandatory. So as part of their legal obligation for the contract of receiving a J1 visa, they will return to their home country for 2 years unless their home country were to grant them a waiver. And right now, we are upcoming a large number of our teachers that will be entering those 4th and 5th years that have been contracted through our district. So we will be talking more and more about this as we get further into it. Global Teaching Partners, a little background on them. They are in Research Triangle Park. Dr. Nathan Tomasini is the executive director. He came down and met with myself and Dr. Dallas. We talked about our options with them as a J1 visa provider. We really caught wind of them because other districts locally had great things to say about their support for their teachers that they bring. And then as we talked to them more and more about their program, the thing that was appealing with them is that they actually will, once their teachers are employed with Cook County Schools, they actually will pay those teachers over the summer and over the breaks to help other international faculty teachers. And we kind of grow our own international faculty program within our district. And the nice thing is that our teachers can earn some extra money by working with that organization that's already sponsoring them. And it gives them a little more opportunities than some of the more traditional programs that we've been through. Prior to them coming, the services that are provided by these organizations are huge vetting services. So prior to them even be a candidate that we can look at, they have teacher experience reviews in their own countries. And not only by their accreditation organization within their country, whether it's the Department of Education, some of them have a Ministry of Education, depending on where they're coming from, but also by these individuals that know the North Carolina standards, that know the North Carolina law, that know licensure in North Carolina. So they're all vetted prior to any kind of candidacy for us. And the thing that's key here is that these are teachers that are experienced teachers. They're experienced in their own country. So these are not teachers that have never been in a classroom before. In most countries, for them to apply for a J1 visa, they have to be considered an expert teacher. So they have to have at least 3 years of teaching experience in their own country. Most of the individuals that we're getting have more than that. The other thing is the educational program audits. So companies like Global, EPI, they make sure that the degrees that people are attaining in other countries to teach are comparable to what they would be expected to earn in the United States, so that the teachers have the academic background to be able to step in and be effective. They do instructional and behavioral interviews and observations. So they watch these teachers teach in their own country. Now, you have to remember this, these teachers want to come to the United States to teach, okay? A J1 visa is a cultural exchange visa. So you might see these people listed as ACE, which is an academic and cultural exchange person. They want to come here. So when they, in their home countries, they showcase their teaching skills, they're observed by people from these organizations. In fact, a lot of times when I call, they'll say, oh, he's out of the country for 3 weeks. He'll probably when he gets back, he's observing teachers in Venezuela or Colombia or wherever it might be. So they're being observed in their home environments to see how effective they are in the classroom dealing with students. They do English language proficiency assessments, which can look a little bit different for our participate teachers because our participate teachers are typically trained in Spanish immersion. So their language skills are expected to be that much more evolved in both languages than those that we're going through in the regular program. They do cultural adaptiveness assessment, state licensure reviews, and international background checks. The one perk that I liked with Global Teaching Partners is that they have a school in Honduras where they have a section of the education school set up to teach North Carolina standards while the teachers are learning because they work so closely with North Carolina. So the teachers at that school, at that college, are actually doing their student teaching and doing their practicums with North Carolina teaching standards while they're in their country. So when they come here after several years, they're well versed in what is expected. So our current, go to the next one. Something got skipped. Something skipped. Yeah, there should be a graphic on there. It's not in there.
That graphic, no?
Do it? No, that is a graphic, but that's not the graphic. See if you can read it, see if it's in there. Huh? No, I mean, I can describe it. So imagine we're looking at a very colorful graphic. One of which would show you that Hope County School currently employs 30 international faculty through these various organizations. Throughout 9 Hope County schools, again, the specialty international staff being Mandarin Chinese and Sanko Gurley College, and then the dual immersion teachers. The other teachers are spread out among the high school and several elementary schools. There are 8 countries represented currently, and I don't have a list, so I'm going by the flags here. Honduras, Colombia, Ecuador, El Salvador, Philippines, Ghana, Jamaica, and China. So those are the 8 countries that are represented within our district currently through this program. Now, the important part to remember is we have 30 teachers, which represents about 7% of our entire teacher group in this. There were a lot of articles at the beginning of the year, if you saw them, WRL or Federal Observer, talking about how many teachers were being pulled into surrounding counties from the international pool. It's important to understand that because each one of these teachers have to be issued a J1 visa, we're actually talking about pieces of a pie in this scenario. There are only so many J1 visas that are issued. So these organizations, the more organizations you can partner with, the more J1 visas you can have issued within your county, and the more international faculty are available to you. So that's an important piece of this. The other, and you can go ahead. Oh, okay, remember this. The other part that is applicable to all of these organizations, EPI, Global, as well as Participate, is that they provide their J1 visa and legal assistance. So when those teachers are beginning to finish their 3rd year, they automatically send them notification to say, are you planning on staying in the United States for 2 more years? We'll file an extension for you. So we don't do anything with that legally. That's all included in working with them. Airfare to the United States, they pay for. The initial orientation, some organizations, now I can tell you for Global, what they do is they have a 2 to 3 day orientation in Durham after everyone gets off the planes at Raleigh. And they have a 2 to 3 day orientation. And during that orientation, they teach them a lot about kind of the housekeeping of America. So how do you get your driver's license? What if you want to purchase a car? You need to have insurance. You need to have a place to live. This is how you pay, whatever, utility bills. This is how you sign up for things. So they do a lot of that acclimation with those teachers so that when they start the school year, those things they're not worried about them. Because, coming to a foreign country and not really knowing how do you go to the grocery store? What do you get? Or how do you go to the DMV and wait in line and get a license? Or do I need insurance for my car? Those kind of things. They take care of all of those initial things for us so that we're not, trying to have teachers stressed out at the very beginning of the year when they move to America, they're trying to teach. They also don't have a ride somewhere. They also don't have, we've gone through that. We have teachers that currently come from other countries and they kind of are lost a little bit at the beginning of the year. We had several teachers this year stay with Tawana McNeil. She put up a couple teachers for a couple days till we could find housing for them. Those kind of things. So I certainly appreciate when a company like Global will look out for these individuals who have really risked a lot to leave their country, come here and help kids, to help get them situated so they don't feel the pressures like that. The other thing to consider for all this is that, and I don't know if Ms. O'Brien's here. Yeah, Ms. O'Brien, she had a teacher from one of these organizations and their parent passed away in the Philippines.
It was a Philippine.
So I'm able to correspond with the organization to figure out how do we get her home to her mom's funeral or whatever. And they take care of a lot of those logistics for us and look after the people. So that's another perk that, is something that you don't think about unless you're 5,000 miles from home or whatever it might be. We're not just filling vacancies with these individuals. The people that we have gotten their attrition rate, which is they come back every year, they don't quit their job. The attrition rate is so much lower than it is with all of our other teachers. They stay, typically they're 5 years. A lot of them are very effective teachers. I know Dr. Register was talking today about several teachers at the high school that will be going back, that we're really gonna miss them because they are such effective teachers. So these are quality individuals who want to be here and teach our kids, and when they come on a J1 visa, they are here for 5 years. So it's for us to partner with organizations like this to get high quality candidates who are used to teaching kids, who have gone through honing their craft in teaching kids prior to even coming here. The piece that is the biggest obstacle is the cultural piece in the United States. It's a cultural piece and societal piece sometimes. But as far as teaching kids, these individuals are usually very high quality when we get them. Okay. So this is just to show you where North Carolina stands. So since 2016, the darker the color in the state, the more J1 visas have been issued. And you see North Carolina is #1 in the entire United States with J1 visas issued since 2016. I know there's probably questions, so.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What do we plan to do if we lose some of these teachers, right? They go back to their own country, sometimes they just go and don't come back, right?
Right.
So, we don't need any substitute teachers a lot.
Right. Well, a lot of it comes to how healthy is our pipeline in this situation, right? So, part of that J1 standing with these organizations is us helping their standing with the US Department of State. So when we are a good faith partner for them, we will be allowed to get more J visas, a bigger piece of the pie, let's say, of J visas from these organizations. So, when we are a good faith partner with EPI and we have excellent pipeline with some of the individuals maybe from the Philippines or wherever, we're more likely to get more high quality individuals coming back our way because on a new visa. Now, the part of it that I would say to the board is that eventually we're gonna come to a crossroads where we're gonna have to create a policy navigating what will be our county policy on, will we sponsor individuals for permanent residency? Will we sponsor, H1B? What will we sponsor, or will we sponsor nothing at all, basically? I would say that from the individuals that are coming to the end of their time, I've met with them extensively. We've met with immigration lawyers extensively. And the very high quality teacher that wants to be here and says, I want to get a house in Hope County, I want to live in Hope County, I want to teach at Hope County High School. Those are people we need to, those are people we need to hold on to, but we are going to need to adopt some guiding policies probably as a board at some point, because this is really a wave of those 5-year J1 visas expirations that we have not seen as a district. We're in year 4 and 5 with a lot of our teachers right now.
I've seen, back in the day, we used to recruit for international, our superintendent used to go to China, not that close. But anyway, are we recruiting now, or are they just coming?
You talk about the job fairs at the.
Yeah, so we do recruit, and that's another reason to get into another organization's pipeline is because they host their own job fairs on site, and they basically have, virtual interview booths, I guess I would call them, where they really have them set up. And the thing about most of these candidates in the high quality organizations that provide J1 visas is that they're already sending you video clips of this person teaching. We can go on their sites and watch someone teach before we even interview them. So we know if we're even interested. Our principals have access to their profiles, and a lot of times our principals are the ones who initially just reach out to them and then start the dialogue. So we can recruit as much as we want. The only problem is we're not gonna have an open-ended amount of visas. So like when we got down to hiring at the end of the summer with the EPI, they let us know, that's it for you guys, okay? That kind of thing. So each one of the providers can only issue so many amounts of visas. So the better chunk of providers, let me rephrase that. Better chunk of high quality providers we can have partnered with us, the better off we are as while we're in a teacher shortage.
I think it's good that we can, recruit virtually, because then you'll see how well, because they speak English, they know English, but sometimes the accent is, it's so bad, I guess, or not as, anyway, the students, you know, especially the elementary students, you know, sometimes, we've had that issue here, but that was a long time ago, so, so that we can do virtual stuff. Thank you. Oh, one more question. What are we doing? I hear you say that, you know, the companies that they come from, they treat them well, they do, but what are we doing to make them feel like they belong to whole county?
Well, one thing we quickly recognized this year is we have never enrolled these people in the beginning teacher programs because they don't, when we look at their codes, they're not PTs technically. So one thing we did this year is make sure that we include all of our new international faculty in our PT program, so that they feel like they have someone to talk to, that they can reach out to. And sometimes sometimes it's just really little stuff, like I wanna go to the store and get this, where do I get that at? You know, things like that when they first get here. And so people in the PT program, and honestly, that's one of the perks I think with the global, global organization, teaching partners, is that them building their own ambassadors within our district to help that transition for the next, if we get 3 teachers this year, let's say, and then we get 3 next year, those 3 that were here the year before are now paid separate from that organization to help those 3. So, I think it's a good, I really like what they do as an organization. I know that Scotland County raves about them.
Yeah.
And talking to some other, bigger counties, Wake and things too, they really like working with us.
So, Mr. kind of question, are we looking at, if this contract goes through, are we looking at how quickly are we looking at, because we have a big shortage and we really need teachers in the classroom setting. So are we trying to get them like as soon, or are we trying to wait to the?
Well, so they have to work a full year, so they will not start until next school year, most likely. And that's because of their visa status. But because, depending on what country they're in, just because they're approved by the United States to come here, doesn't mean their home country will necessarily let them come here. So some of the processes for their home countries to be released can take months and months and months and months and months. So right now, January, February is the big time for these international job fairs. So that's why it's important for us to get the contract on right now, because they've already reached out to me and they said, does Hope County Schools want a virtual booth on January 26th? And I said, absolutely. Let's get the contract first, from you. But so this is the prime recruiting time for international, because they do have about 5 to 6 months of paperwork and red tape they have to get through before they can come this way. But to answer your question, hopefully, as we move a little bit further and we can get more of a pipeline open, when we have individuals that stay 5 years and are dedicated to this and then maybe leave for a year and a half, 18 months, come back on a different visa, and are really dedicated, want to be permanent residents, go through citizenship and all that, that's an investment of people that I can promise you in North Carolina, the average teacher is not staying at the job for 5 years. And so that's an advantage of these individuals, is that their attrition and their turnover rate is so low compared.
Okay, thank you.
Well, are we gonna be in competition with other school systems with this potential partner here?
Well, I would say we're always in competition with other school systems because it is a pie with with limited slices in it. But this organization, Global, is very careful of who they work with. So where other organizations will handle all correspondence via email, on the phone, they had to come meet with us before they would agree to partner with us. So they wanted to know, if we're bringing these people over here, because their organization's spending a lot of time and money, in engaging these individuals and bringing them over and getting their paperwork straightened out. They want to know that we're going to treat them right when they're here. They want to know that they're going to be a valuable part of our team. So that was part of, I joked with Dr. Dallas because I got off the phone with him the first time and I said, I think they just kind of interviewed me on the phone for 15 minutes. I was just calling to get information. And so we kind of passed that check, and then when it came down, they had a lot of questions for us about how we will support them, and so we were just very impressed by Dr. Tomasini and Becca, who is the regional director in this part of North Carolina, who'll be supporting our teachers directly. And the other thing with them is their support people who are all teachers in North Carolina, and they're all administrators from North Carolina, so they're all very, they know what it should look like in the classroom when they come give support. It shouldn't be a whole lot different than what, Dr. Register and curriculum are telling them, or Dr. Ramsor and curriculum are telling them.
This contract here, is there a fee that we have to pay for their services?
So we do pay per teacher, and maybe Ms. Chavis can elaborate on that. However, it's a flat fee. And these individuals, we do not pay their hospitalization, retirement, what else?
That's the two things we don't pay.
Those are two things we don't pay, which basically for a teacher that is a third-year teacher that we picked up from Fayetteville and a third-year teacher from them, they cost less even with the fee added in because we don't pay retirement or hospitalization.
So when would the fee be added in?
We only charge the fee if we hire a candidate from them.
So that's what I'm asking, at what time would it be added in?
Normally, we receive an invoice from them, maybe like September, October of the following school year.
So that's what I'm asking, what is the fee? If
With EPI, I know it depends on what year the teacher's in, so a beginning teacher might be $15,000. Or a first-time teacher here might be $15,000. A third-year teacher here might be $13,000. So it just depends on what year the teacher is in their program with us. Because we've had teachers here now, their third and fourth year, and the third and fourth year costs $13,000 with the company. That's what we pay the company for that particular teacher.
So what part of the agreement, 1, 2, 3, or 4? That's what we're asking.
An actual contract.
Well, I'm looking at what part of the contract.
For number 3, when they talk about annual fees. So the pricing sheet, I think is what you're talking about, Ms. Summer.
CR2.
We're
Okay,
talking
so
about
the
the pricing
annual
sheet.
fees and payment terms. So we set forth in the pricing sheet.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, the pricing sheet. It's not
Why don't you have the pricing sheet?
I don't know, not for the global. I remember we talked about.
Do you have that sheet?
I do. I believe it's 16.5 when they start. Now, keep in mind, the contract is, those fees and all that only kicks in if we sponsor someone with a J visa through the organization. So if we find that after, interviewing people that we don't have a quality candidate that we feel comfortable about, we don't incur any costs. But because they are offering J1 visas through the Department of State, that processing becomes costly. But the way we've always been able to kind of defray the cost is that we're not paying, I think, what'd you say, like for every three?
These employees are not subject to retirement that are through this program. And then they also do not receive hospitalization. So for hospitalization for a employee of Pope County, that's normally about $7,000. So that offsets part of the 16. And our current retirement rate is 24.5%. So on a person making about $40,000, you're talking about another $16,000 that we apply towards this person coming through this program. What DPI allows us to do is we convert our teaching positions because they're actually using a teacher position. So like this year, for example, we had 30 international faculty come. So what we do is what we call a international faculty conversion. So I submit to DPI that we have 30 teachers coming and they do a rate of, I think it was like 74,000 per teacher that they gave us for these international faculty. Well, that teacher might only cost me $50,000 plus what the company's charging us of $16,000. So I might only pay $65,000 of the 71 towards that particular teacher. Is that?
So in other words, the cost of these teachers, including the fees that you are accruing, are covered by the payments that you're getting from state funds for teacher allocation.
Correct. If it's so let's say up to 30, I had 5,000 on each teacher. Then instead of converting 30 positions, I only converted 29. So it saved me a position in my state allocation to use maybe at another school or somewhere.
In number 3, it talks about that, it says, the annual fees and payment terms for the teachers will be set forth in the pricing sheet supplied to the board. Do we have that? We don't have the pricing sheet. I would like to see that.
Was that given to you in the revised contract?
It was not.
Yeah, I don't, once you all exchanged it with them, the sheet's not on there anymore.
I don't, did I have it initially from you?
I don't know.
I don't believe I had it in, let me check to make sure.
Let me see if they said it. I probably have a copy of it separately. I thought it was just attached.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we table this until we get the pricing sheet.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to table the we have it, the Global Teaching Partners
I
contract.
can't. It's a flat rate. It's 17.5 for all 5 years.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion on the floor to table the Global Teacher Partners contract, and there it has been second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next on the agenda is information items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, we have one information item this evening. Information item A is the monthly finance report. Let me ask Ms. Juana Chavis, our finance officer, to explain the monthly financial report.
Good evening again. As you started out, so this is our monthly financial report, and if you pull it up, it's real small in print. So I'm gonna we're trying to enlarge it where you can see it on the screen, but if you can see it on your device, would be probably easier for you where you can enhance it. What this report does is shows you all of our funding sources broken down by their program report code. And currently, it gives you the month-to-date expenditures, year-to-date expenditures, our remaining balance to spend, any outstanding purchase orders we have, and then the remaining balance after that. And if you scroll to page 3, you will have our state budget, which is currently $71,786,876. For the month of December, we spent $5,841,450.63. Year-to-date, we had spent $33,506,409.19, which leaves us $38,280,466.81. As of today, we've spent 46.6% of our state budget, which our goal is by June 30th, we wouldn't have any funding left in the state. Next, we have our local budget, which is what we receive from our county commissioners and our fines and forfeitures. Our budget is $6,087,500. As in the month of December, we spent $437,896.97. Year-to-date, we spent $3,082,206.73, with a remaining balance of $3,505,293.20. So as of today, we've spent 50% of our local budget. And also with this.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going a little too fast. I don't even know where you're at.
I'm a little confused with one.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm on page 3.
Okay. What PRC code?
It says Fund 2. There was Fund 1. I didn't want to read all the PRCs.
Towards the bottom. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Fund 2, which is our county appropriations of $6,087,500. And like I said, at the month of December, we spent $437,896.97. Year-to-date, as of December, we'd spent $3,082,206.73, and we have $3,005,293.27. So as of today, we've spent 50% of our local county appropriation. Next, we have our Fund 3, which is on page 4, or actually the total is on page 5, I'm sorry, because we have a lot of PRCs with our federal programs. We have a lot of federal grants, a lot of them are ESSER grants. So a lot of individual, and they're very specific in funding sources. But on page 5, about middle ways the page, our federal budget as of today is $26,208,277.08. For the month of December, we spent $1,082,491.37. Year-to-date, we've spent $6,012,559.39, and we have a remaining $20,195,719.69. So we spent 22% of our federal budget. Now, the difference with the federal and state is some of our federal programs will roll over to another year. So it will carry over. So in some of our funding for federal programs, we will have carryover for another year for a particular PRC. For example, in our Title I, our goal is always to carry over some of that funding to have available for the next fiscal year. Then we have some of these federal programs that actually have an end life for this fiscal year. Some of our ESSER funding ended in September of this school year. And also a few of our federal grants have a life that ends in this school year. Next, we have our capital outlay, which is Fund 4. We have $80,219,000. Of this, when we began the school year with the anticipation of the high school project, we budgeted for $79 million for the high school project, just so we would have it budgeted if we had any expenditures with the high school project. But we received $1,219,000 from the county for our capital outlay projects. As of today, we have spent, or in December, we spent $22,672.98. As of today, we spent $1,426,143 on our capital outlay projects. With our capital outlay that we received from the county, we have $350,000 left, $350,150 left. And we still have $78 million for our high school project remaining. Next, we have child nutrition. We have a budget of $6,200,000. In the month of December, we spent $244,452.22. Year-to-date, we spent $1,899,118, with a remaining budget amount of $4,300,000. We've spent 30% of our child nutrition estimated budget. On page 7, six, I finished looking at that. We have what we call our after-school care program. It's at some of our elementary schools. We have a budget of $300,000. In the month of December, we spent $12,042.56. Year-to-date, we spent $64,417 with a remaining budget of $235,000. We spent 21% of this allocated budget. And then we have our other, what we call other restricted funding sources, which is what we call Fund 8. This is where we put any type of funding that we receive from grants, our military, our Smart Start, our NC Pre-K program. All of these fall into what we call our other restricted funds. And our total on page 7 at the bottom, the very bottom. In our other restricted funds, our budget is $8,986,426.54. In the month of December, we spent $359,004.68. Year-to-date, we spent $2,356,551.87, with a remaining balance of $6,629,874.67. And we spent 26% of that budget also. And just like with our federal programs, some of our grants that we have in our Fund 8 funding source, they have an extended life. For example, we have what we call our DODEA grant, which is a Department of Defense grant that we received. It's $2 million. It's over a 5-year life. So we budget the whole in the initial life, but it will run on our books for 5 years. So we have 3 grants that are like that. They have a life of 5 years and are indicated in this particular funding source. So the total budget for Hope County Schools with all funding sources is $199,788,079.62. In the month of December, we spent $8,011.41. Year-to-date, we've spent $48,347,406.45. So as a total, we spent 24% of our total budget for Hope County Schools. Any questions about our monthly financial report? Thank you.
Okay, Madam Chair and members, that's all we have for information for this evening.
Oh, thank you, Superintendent.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion to go into closed session. Okay. I make a motion to go into closed session for the following reasons: to consider confidential personnel information protected under the North Carolina General Statute 143 through 18.11 A1, A3. To consider the initial matters related to the initial employment of individual employees pursuant to the North Carolina General Statute 143 through 18.11 A6, and to consult with the Board of Education attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided in the North Carolina Statute 143.11 18.
Can I get a motion? Can I get a second? Second. There's been a motion, it's been second. Do I have any Anybody opposed to the closed session motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. We're gonna take about a 5-minute break, to get ready for the next closed session meeting.